What is this base I'm seeing from Dukes, Threats, and Chap? This is a big one. This is looking like an old school, like Season 2, Season 3 base in Chapter 1, where you just use up all your material to make a secure high ground. But it is Chap at the end of the day. I'm sure there's a reason for it. And when you look at it, for how much room it's covering, it's actually not that much material. Without the roofs, without the cones, this didn't cost them that much. And Chap's a fan of building these big bases. There's no mobility in the game right now to let someone just jump in there with shockwaves. Maybe a well-placed bounce pad, but I have to think they've secured a really good position on the top of this one as Aspect, NPen, and Zuni's trying to keep their momentum pushing forward on 71 points on the edge, trying to secure that top 10 with 2 games to go, as Miro also in the feed. So coming into this endgame, Monster, it looks like we've got a lot of those big teams that haven't quite been performing looking to have their game here.
Yeah, definitely. And that means the standings are going to shake up because bubble teams are popping off, which means that is always going to cause upsets up towards the top. It's really going to take those top players and crunch them down into those bottom players and really keep it nice and close for the final game here leading in. This is just game number 5 right now. This will be the pace setter. This will be the settings set for the teams that need to qualify out of this round here. Who can break into top 10? Who can hold top 10 by the time this is all said and done? Because 71 points is a lot right now. That is a lot that keeps them up towards this top 6. It allows them to maintain it, but it's not enough. It's not enough to still catch up to Bucky, Kanata Macwood, not enough to catch up to Furious, Kalkin Sebi, and everyone else who's up above in those top standings. So they're not safe just yet.
They're not safe just yet at all. They've got that edge, and Chap, Threats, and Dukes. I talk about that high ground. I talked about that base looking a bit strange, but knowing Chap had a plan. It's one of the first times we've seen this team seriously in endgame. They've been contested a lot on the drops. We haven't seen them get to endgame much, and unfortunately Chap trying to tarp out and gets broken out from below. He falls down, Threats falls down. There was too much pressure on the tarp. I think Chap was trying to go for a really quick rush play to try to get onto that antenna. That would have been the indestructible structure they needed to be on top of, but no. The first time they've made a solid endgame, and Threats is down, Chap is down, and Dukes has to see what he can do instead.
And that's so unfortunate, because if Chap was there, that means Bully probably did not make it all the way through, with Osman first being his duos or his partners there. So they were in 9th place. Again, big exchanges. That means the top 10 standings is going to be ever so much more closer. Top 10 teams being taken out, teams that are on the bubble just now fighting their way up. So anything can happen now. Here it is. Dukes, though, has to put the rest of the team on his back here. What can he do? Threats and Chap are already down to the one misplay. It's Aspect, Zuni's, and NPen, though, who grabbed that high ground once again. They're looking to also grab themselves 2 victory royales today.
2 victory royales on 2 different players would show how high the caliber is in NAEs, yet there's still a few teams that are willing to jump up and take it. We have so many of the players that have been pressuring height previously, not in this one, not making those big moves for height, so they might have this one secured. I'm only seeing 17 builds on Aspect, even less now. They're not that high off the ground. Zuni's making his way up as well, though. I think Zuni's went down and got a refresh. Hopefully that is. We'll see if Zuni's drops a bit of the mats for Aspect. There it is, the mat drop, the split. That's what the fraggers do best. Find the elimination on the high ground, drop down and secure the loot with the harpoon, or run down and then come back up and re-secure, because right now they are not comfortable on the high ground. A well-placed rocket or even just a good spray could knock them out, but for the most part they look like they have things under control, as Calc, Sebi, and Furious just showing that they're the one team that's doing insanely well who hasn't once been on a high ground, Monster. They're still just controlling this thing on the low ground. Calc is now pushing through, seeing what they can do on the low, what they can make out of this game. As here it comes, the aggression onto the high ground, trying to take over things here, trying to build up and see what they can do. It's Dave Miro in reverse, a team we haven't seen on high ground previously either, really trying to bully NPen's team off this one to see what they can make of this. Reverse is going to keep looking for these angles. Day goes down, though. Miro and Reverse have to try and work their way down. Miro's getting dropped, I don't think intentionally right now. Not entirely sure how they're going to hold this one. Reverse by himself has a lot of builds, has 46 total, but doesn't have any of the health either. Doesn't have anything to make this count here. What they can do up on top, as we have full trios on low ground. Furious, Kalk, and Sebi still down there. Tragix is in there. Zuni's Aspect is also there. Trying to build this one, dropping the mats, splitting what little mats they have. Only 21 builds total. What can they do to make this one happen? Daxor goes down to Calc. 4 teams remaining, 8 players, so they have the numbers advantage, but they're also the duo. So right now, any trio in this one has it right now. They're dropping down, they're underneath. Tragix is moving his way through the builds as well. Aspect moving their way through as well. Miro's got 3 floppers and 2 chug splashes on the high ground, seeing what he can maybe do to heal this one off because they don't have the power to drop down, but never mind. Miro putting the aim to work. Maybe Miro gonna drop the meds onto reverse. They have the rocket as well. Never mind. I think they have all the power they need to close out this game. Trying to find their way in with the rockets. Has 3 of them. Don't really need to try to do anything massive. Can use those rockets to make these low ground teams fight each other, showing why they're your FNCS champions. Having the game strategy of, look, we have the heal off, we have the firepower, but that win is worth so many points. Get the eliminations if they're there, but maybe don't play too aggressive. Even reverse, just dropping down, getting these builds. We are very, very close to the closeout zone. Once this zone closes out, it's down to who has more heals, and I have to think Miro's floppers and splashes are gonna hold up. The rockets are down, the pressure is off. Reverse is gonna stay up here and make sure that Miro can secure this heal off. They're not gonna make the big plays at this point with this amount of material. There's no real point to drop down and try to get edits. It's going to come down to the heals. How long do we have left? 9 seconds to decide. Reverse's team needs this. FNCS champions automatically qualifying in the first week would be massive. Miro hits the bounce pad, gets away from these players. They can follow that bounce pad, and it sounds like they are. He's popping the splashes first. They're lost. Furious is also trying to go for the heal off now. They know they can't catch Miro. He is long gone. They have no idea where he is, but who has more heals? I didn't see if the other team had any. He's got 1 more flopper. Furious is pushing this. I think it's going to come down to the last flopper right now. Furious had a lot of heals as well. Never mind. I said there was no way, but there is no chance that Furious had more meds. As you can see there.
And luckily for Ocus, the storm, as we swap over, is not going to be activated with Surge. And with 4 builds remaining, he tries to just get up as any way away from these players. But like you talked about, I don't think he's going to be able to hold on for much longer. Puts down some nice damage onto them rotating, but he's really going to have to make a miracle play here because there's not much left in the inventory. There's not much gas in this tank for Ocus. He's going to have to maybe get into the tarp and find something, but they're ready for it. So unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to do something. But if he can take down one of these players, maybe keep them from getting into the zone. But no, Ocus going to fall.
Ocus falls here, unfortunately, and that's going to be it. Ronaldo's got another weeks to come, though. He's got 2 more weeks to try and make this count, and still, that's really good consistency points. We talk about how you need to make that top 10. You need to try to get the automatic qualification, but more players are going to qualify through consistency, not top 10. So at the end of the day, if they keep playing like this, it won't matter. That was a really, really good first tournament for them together. First time playing in the FNCS.
Great performance, and I think they should hold themselves up really high going into next week as well. I don't think they should try to swap. Get that practice in, solidify what you want to do, what kind of team you want to be, and then just come out next week and dominate. And show, hey, yes, we didn't have that great of a showing in qualifier number 1, but qualifier 2, we are here and we are going to dominate.
Yeah, and this is a team that's trying to say we are here and we are going to dominate. Jack, Acorn, and Slacks, one of the favorites coming into this, had a phenomenal last FNCS. A lot of chemistry, finally getting their big game to do this. You see them on the high ground on half-half. First rotating pulls across, not far enough where they can't bouncer and then anchor this massive high ground. I also saw the slurpfish in the inventory there, so I know this team has the white meds for the heal off. I know they have the ability and the game sense to win this game, and they need to. They are currently outside the top 10. They're in 14th place, but a top 3 here would 100% secure it. And if you're looking at a team to try to secure a top 3 in game 6 to qualify and they have high ground, it's Jack, Acorn, and Slacks. They're going to bring it home unless something massive happens very quickly.
I'd put all my eggs in that basket there. I have full confidence they're going to do really well. But what can everyone else do that's on that bubble? Bully losing OSP there, not able to get that reboot off there. What can they do in these tarps rotating through? They're low on materials as well. Only 45 builds here for Bully. Can they find an impact elimination? Can they find someone in this tarp to grab the match from, steal elimination away? But it's going to be very hard as you see so many of these players still looking back. They're getting in the zone. It's kind of going up an incline. This is not where they want to be. Bully's going to have to burn a bouncer, and no, they're both going to fall there.
Yeah, they're both going to fall there, and there it is. Wait, Clicks, Bizzle, and Booger are now taking the high ground. They're going to try and run this one home. They're going to try and take out their third victory royale in 6 games. If they close out FNCS Qualifier 1 Round 4 with a 50% win rate, Clay, that would be massive. I talk about big statements. Who's going to make a bigger statement than the ex-World Cup solo champion, Clicks and Bizzle? Those are the 3 of the biggest names, and it's for a reason.
It is. They're showing absolute domination over the region today. Can they close it out, though? That is what we'll have to wait and see. But Jock and Slacks, even though they lost Acorn, are not done anytime soon. They know we only have 18 builds, and it is all in wood. So we have to get in. We have to try to find an elimination here on low ground beneath us, because we're going to run out of builds, and that's going to put us in a bad spot. Now, they operate very well in shambles, especially on the low ground, but recently they've been going more to these mid-ground areas trying to get these eliminations. But as we swap over, we see someone more in shambles. Aggro getting hit by Surge, is trying to get in, but Surge is going to take him down.
Surge's going to take him down. You're just looking at those points constantly. Anyone around that 70 mark is really on the bubble and needs to have a big game, which is obviously Jack here. They're on 61. The big shot, the 2 big shots, the tack attack back to back. That takes them both out there. Jack just instantly back up onto 100. Doesn't need the slow fish. That epic tactical shotgun being put to work, and that is 4 huge points. Eliminations being worth 2. If they can keep pushing, this might be the monumental push they need to jump back up as a duo. Jack obviously normally duoed with Acorn, but Slacks is just as good, and they're going to see what they can close out with this one.
Ooh, but falling down into a whole trio goes down. Jock, Slacks. Now it's a solo try to clutch it up here in the last moments of the game, and no, not going to be able to do it. 68 points is what he is on at the end, though. We'll have to see if that'll hold. On the high ground, still Bizzle, Clicks, and Booga trying to pressure down everyone. Zypha there as well. We know they're qualified as well. How many of these trios down here are on the cusp, though?
That's the thing. They're just pushing forward. They've got the victory in the bag. They've got the victory out potentially, but you know the tournament's there. Bizzle lines up that legendary dragon shotgun, sits back a little bit, doesn't do as much damage from range, but that was more than enough damage to push that player off the level, as Aviv is going to go for the heal off a little bit early, leaves the toes exposed. There is a player under their builds, only has the small fries. They're not going to top you up that much, but just enough to keep pushing forward. There he goes, gets the second last one off. It's a low ground, 2 teams alive, 6 players. A trio versus trio, head to head. Your first place team on high ground trying to make their way through the team that came in on 7th. A phenomenal performance. Both these teams have guaranteed already made top 10, but can they push up higher? Can Booger, Bizzle, and Clicks close out week 1 with a 50% win rate? With that heal off in the back pocket, I have to think it's going to be highly likely. Trashy comes up, the tack shots come out, that epic tack gets to work. Can he get the siphon? Needs the finish. He does. He takes down Bizzle. They're in zone, but where's Booger? He is nowhere to be seen. He is going for the heal off deep in Storm. They don't have it. Not only...
Yeah, what a day from Clicks, Booga, and Bizzle. Be very interested to go ahead and watch those game backs to see how they were communicating those height takes and everything like that.
Yeah, I feel like they were definitely missing out a little bit something in terms of the playstyle with the RPG. You know, that should be their time to shine. And
yeah, probably the most surprising thing looking at this leaderboard here is Slacks, Acorn, and Jack in the 12th position. They won't be going through the semis. Obviously, they have qualifiers 2 and 3.
And I mean, they were my pick. They were my pick to do well. And, you know, coming in 12th is probably disappointing for them. And like I said, Storm Surge was a big issue, but on top of them in their drop spot in Slurpee, and they had height going into 5th, and it all kind of crumbled and went a bit wrong.